over 250,000 individuals are reported missing every year, with estimates of actual missing person cases that are left unreported pushing that total to more than 300,000 cases annually. With that many reports, it's no wonder that a vast majority of these cases are left unsolved. However, every now and then there's a series of missing cases that emerge that are so peculiar, they become the subject of impossible to explain theories. Known as the missing 411, there appears to be a substantial number of missing person cases related to the disappearances of individuals from national parks. On the 21st of November back in 1953, a 40-year-old man by the name of Charles Warner would suddenly vanish under suspicious circumstances, while elk hunting with a close friend after claiming that he was going to make a quick stroll back to his car to gather additional supplies for their hunting trip. Although the disappearance of Charles Warner is not exactly as dramatic or strange as some would believe, the physical evidence left behind would point to something far more strange having occurred in the area. According to the report, Charles Warner, an experienced hiker and outdoorsman of many years, decided to travel to the Umatilla National Forest, located a little less than 20 miles south of the Washington border. Rather than go alone, Warner was well aware of the safety protocols, and so decided to bring along a close friend of his, another highly experienced hunter and outdoorsman to go elk hunting with. As the two men arrived at the location towards the end of November, they decided to travel an additional 5 miles south, as Warner drove his car off a road that entered deeper into the wilderness. The first 2 days in the region, Charles and his hunting partner grew increasingly frustrated, as they remarked to each other that there appeared to have been no wildlife in the area, not even small game animals that should have littered the trees and forest floors. It was on the 21st of November during Saturday morning that Charles Warner and his hunting partner decided to end the trip to begin prepping for Thanksgiving, given the fact that not a single elk had been spotted by either men the entire time they'd visited the region. Towards the middle of the afternoon, however, Charles and his hunting partner believed that they'd heard large game animals moving into the region, as they were roughly 1 mile away from Charles's parked car. After spending a few minutes looking for the animals and tracking their possible location, Charles told his hunting partner that he was going to return to his car momentarily to bring along some additional supplies, as they were planning on following the elk for quite some distance. Deciding to stay behind in the area in the hopes of funneling the elk more towards Charles's location, Warner's hunting partner stayed in the same location to wait for Charles's return. After several hours of waiting, however, Charles's hunting partner started to grow suspicious that Warner had abandoned him, possibly as a joke or because he had happened to find a better hunting ground. This would cause Charles's hunting partner to return to Warner's car that was located at the side of the road, within a mile of their location. Once back at Warner's car, however, it became apparent that Charles had not yet returned to the area as he'd originally planned, as nothing in the car had been moved and Charles was nowhere to be found. Worried that Charles was lost as the sun was now setting, the hunting partner quickly contacted National Forest officials to begin a search and rescue operation within the hour. The search and rescue team was composed of the local county sheriffs, around a dozen local residents who served as volunteers, rangers and officials from the United States Service personnel, and private airplane pilots from the nearby airport to serve as aerial support. Despite more than several dozen individuals assisting with the search, no sign of Charles Warner was recovered. Within the first 2 days of the search, a sudden snowstorm had passed through the region, making search efforts far more difficult. On the third day of the search, Charles's 2 sons would join the search and rescue efforts, and would assist in trying to locate their father in the region, but would still be unable to find any sign of Charles within a 6-mile radius. It would be around this time that a bizarre series of physical evidence was uncovered that led investigators into believing that something far more peculiar had occurred in the area. Although it was impossible to verify, search and rescue volunteers believed that they'd found tracks that belonged to Charles Warner, coming back through a muddy region slightly covered by fresh snow. The tracks had made a straight path to the car, and had prints that directly matched the shoes of Charles Warner's. Oddly enough, the tracks appear to have suddenly ended roughly 2,000 feet from the car's location, as if Charles Warner had suddenly lifted off the ground, or had removed his shoes and covered his tracks in a deliberate manner. Despite looking in a more than 10-mile radius surrounding where Warner had last been seen, no other signs of Charles was uncovered by search and rescue volunteers, and the worsening weather conditions would make it increasingly difficult for the operation to continue any further. On the 29th of November 1953, the official organised search and rescue for Charles Warner was ended. However, on the 30th of November, a small newspaper clipping announced that he had been found underneath a tree, with researchers saying that previous members had searched close to this area, but didn't find him. The small newspaper clipping stated that he had a heart attack. The natural world is incredible. Every year, scientists and researchers discover new species, showing us that there's still a lot we don't know about. The southern state of Minas Gerais in Brazil contains some incredible natural sights, allowing visitors to see animals like the maned wolf, along with primate species. Although these areas are incredible to visit, as they allow you to get up close and personal to some of the local wildlife, sometimes these encounters go wrong. Back in November 2021, news outlets reported that a man was walking through a rural area in Minas Gerais when he was attacked by a swarm of bees. Wildlife experts have long warned people about being careful when around bees, detailing that in July of last year, a man lost his life after a huge swarm of bees were being removed from his home. The Natural History Museum detailed that when these bees attack, they let out a pheromone, and what this does is signal more bees from the colony to join in. A hive can have between 20,000 and 80,000 bees, but researchers have said it only takes around 1,000 stings to take someone's life. As the man was being attacked, he knew he had to find some type of shelter, and the only thing nearby was that of a lake. He was close to the lake as he was fishing there with a friend, but the ordeal wasn't over. Two of the friends managed to get out, but one of them wasn't able to. Specialist divers who were called in reported that after the man had jumped into the lake to avoid the bees, he was then attacked by a pack of piranhas. The man was found only 13 feet from the shoreline. As of right now, those who are involved in the investigation are not sure whether he lost his life due to suffocating in the water, or whether the piranhas were directly involved. The divers did say though that there were very clear signs that piranhas had been in the area. Although these fish are small in comparison to other larger fish species, piranhas have powerful jaws, and one of the strongest bites. Researchers have compared the biting power of a shark to that of a piranha, and said that it's only 1/4 as powerful as that of a piranha bite. The black piranha, which is not a pack hunter, has the largest bite power among the piranha species. Experts who conducted a series of tests revealed that it has the ability to bite down with 320 newtons. This is 30 times its own body weight. However, the long-extinct mega piranha had a much more powerful bite, and would have ruled the region that it lived in. In the Jurassic period, every possible creature was supersized. This was especially true for the piranha. The dinosaur-era super piranhas terrorized the Jurassic seas, and all the prey that dwelled within it. Plenty of them had to suffer from the many toothed fish that ripped into their flesh, and also their fins in a painful fated experience. However, the existence of such a piranha was not uncovered until a recent discovery of its fossil was found in Germany, which dated all the way back to 152 million years ago. That means it was swimming in the same era when pterosaurs soared above the oceans, and big-legged stegosaurus lumbered across the earth. Even though they're dangerous creatures, their small size might claim otherwise. At 28 inches in length, it had long and sharp teeth protruding from its upper and lower jaws with serrated cutting edges. The functionality of the teeth suggests they were meant to slice their prey, in a similar method to that of modern-day piranhas. Knowing how strong the bite force is of a modern piranha, researchers wanted to put this newly discovered species to the test, and they ended up making an incredible discovery. Not only did this creature's jaw pack an almighty punch, but the team went as far as saying that this extinct piranha took the lead as having the strongest bite force of any fish. This is in regards to its size. According to studies released in scientific reports, this prehistoric monster could bite with over 1,000 pounds of force behind it. The team then said that a Tyrannosaurus rex has the greatest bite force of any land animal, but when comparing their body sizes, pound for pound this extinct piranha had a bigger bite force than that of Tyrannosaurus rex. On top of that, these fish were not necessarily stupid either. Instead of focusing on the flesh of their prey, these dinosaur-era piranhas mostly relied on the fins of other fish to sustain themselves. This was actually a pretty intelligent move because fins do indeed grow back. That shows that piranhas had the gumption to make their prey a source of renewable food. Whatever you may think of piranhas, these large toothed fishes held an important evolutionary role throughout the course of biology. So what do you make of these recent discoveries and announcements? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below. It'd help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.